Hi, it's Laura, and I'm getting ready to make some stuff. I put up a video really early this morning on the latest page. And I talked about I wanted to show what I was doing with the cover today, and also a little tweak that I'm doing. Let's clear some of this stuff out. So, how we were started. Do I want to do this or the cover first? No, we'll talk about this. Okay, how we started is, let me turn it over this way, is, I had 4 pages that were attached, and I just got them on with bobby pins, to an inside paper cover. So I got a paper cover and a paper cover. And then there was 4 sheets attached to one and 4 sheets attached to the other. And then the same thing in the back. But what I've kind of decided to do, and these 4 sheets the 4 pages that I'd started with on here were originally going to be these 4 sheets out here in the front. But I think what I want to do is have these all part of a group that are the 8 sheets, 4 and 4, in the center. And we're almost halfway done with all of those. And what I'm thinking of doing here at the front is revisiting something similar, something I've done in the past. And rather than having sheets, and these are way too small for this, but it will be, so it's like a signature of butterflies. So the butterflies will be here at the front. What sparked this thought process is one of my very first books I did. This is back even in 2000. This must have been in 2008 or 9. I'd have to go look as to which year it was. But it's so funny how I remember things is because I am so process oriented versus result oriented. Like once a page or something is done, a book is done, it's kind of, all right, moving on to the next one, because I'm into the process and not into how it all turns out. And so how I remember things is where I was creating it, what I was doing, that kind of thing. That's how I can place things in time. And I remember working this out, like sitting at sitting at like stoplights or whatever. As many of you who've been around for a long time know, I did a whole envelope page for a book with an envelope and such that I had, and I still have that envelope, figuring something out for a page while I'm sitting waiting for some construction stuff. And I still remember that, just like I still remember working out the details for this, because these are all pockets in here. And so these were tags that went in to each of these butterflies, with the center being done with the coil binding. So I'm thinking, something like this, butterfly pages. And then I'm also, when I was thinking about this, then I was also thinking, and I showed these, I think, somewhere along the line. These are from early 80s, maybe late 80s. And these were some butterfly parts that I stumbled across that I had done a million years ago. Now, these are much bigger butterflies than, but these are done out of fabric. This is actually out of a rayon fabric. So taking these from the 80s and combining it with, I had a couple of different butterflies here. I'll show you these. This one's more done with some satin and some other specialty type of fabrics. No, it goes like that. It's been a while. So there's that one. So yeah, I stumbled across these in a box of some stuff. So anyway, combining these from the 80s this from 2008/9 to do the butterflies then in the front of the book. So this is in between my cover and my inner cover. So then in my inner cover, it's all of the pages that we have been working on. And I did finish the one that I showed the video for last night, and I ended up putting more leaves on there. And then I ended up putting a little ladybug, and this has some flowers. But I may end up doing a quick video just showing how to actually make these leaves, because I didn't complete them completely in the video. And then the back side of this one, and we'll start moving on to, then I'll have just these 5 more pages, or 5 more sheets, which is what, 10 more pages. So that's still going to be in the center of the thing. But between the center cover and the outer cover is where the butterflies will go. So there'll be what is essentially 2 butterfly signature together, but we'll make 1, 2, 3 butterflies, and then, the half butterflies on there. So they'll be taller and narrower, excuse me, than these are. This is just, for prototypical purposes. So, and I think that's going to be fun, combining some stuff that I've done in the past with what we're doing right now. So then my thought processes on the cover is, rather than having it be a solid cover, this is out of watercolor paper, keeping this one solid on the inside because there's stuff attaching to it both inside and outside. But now I'm thinking of having a spine. And one of the things I've done, and that I will talk about more as we're finishing putting our book together, is when I originally started, the inner section had, I think it was a 3/8 inch spine, and it was straight. And the outer, much like I have on here, this has a 3/4 inch, and inside it's got a 3-inch spine on the inside one. So, but what I've done is, because I want it to kind of round around, I've added to the center is still the 3/8, and then it's got a 1/4 and a 1/4 and a 1/4 and a 1/4, and that just lets it round around these paper pages. And I was doing the same thing on this outer one as well. So the outer one now, I went ahead and did another 3/8 and a 1/4. So both the inside and the outside. It's not a fig Newton. Sorry, showing my age there. 3/8 with 1/4 and 1/4. So it just gives it a little more rounded, kind of goes with the fabric kind of thing. But what I'm thinking of doing is, then I have like a 3/4 inch tab on each side. So then I have some of this chicken wire stuff. It's got some foam-like stuff to just make it look like it's grungy and stuff. But this is going to attach to, kind of at that, where these wires are, that's where I'm going to attach it on. But this is going to have, then, I don't know if I attach it top or bottom. I think I'll attach it on the top. Same, then it'll also be in the back. And then these butterflies, which these are ridiculously too small, will be underneath, and they'll show through. So it's more of a visual, but it has this real gardeny feeling. We can have a tie that goes around it. But so this will open up, and that's where then the butterflies will be. Butterfly pages, and then this will open up. Then we'll have 8 fabric pages back here, and then butterflies again, and our back cover. Now on this chicken wire, what I'm thinking of doing is weaving some stuff in and out, mainly just here at the top and the bottom, and leaving the center more open. So things that I've been playing with are taking some of the cheesecloth that I've painted, and can weave that in and out. And it might end up being a combination, maybe some fabric woven in and out, some textiles, yarns and such. This is just some jute cord. So that's kind of where I'm at, is trying to figure out what I want to weave in and out of it. But I like the idea of it being open, and you can see at least the half of butterfly butterfly wings underneath, and then this opens up, and then you'll have this inside cover and then all the pages. So then the pages of where we're at so far, and then we'll continue on. So as you can see, I don't work super quickly because I'm about the process and the details and that sort of thing. But this is where this one is headed for this. I mean, this is essentially an entire book, even though I'm not considering it a book. It's one of several books. This is the garden, and I have my list of what I decided. I'm going to have the garden, I'm going to have a parlor, a kitchen, and a basement, and then the optional, probably smaller, and these will all be booklets, probably smaller, potentially a bedroom, potentially an attic, and potentially a nursery, depending on, you know, how all of them end up being. This is probably going to be the largest of them, and they're all going to fit in some sort of container, fairy house container that's done with some fabric. I've got pictures in my head. We're just not there quite yet because I wanted to get at least this first booklet done. But with this theme of using it as a house, and then each of these little booklets come together, or signatures, whatever you want to call them, will all come together, and they're themed based on a room in the house. So anyway, we're doing the chicken wire, and this could be plain chicken wire. Now, this is stuff you can get at the big box craft stores. So the chicken wire, you'll be able to see the butterflies in between. So pulling in the ideas from this one and from these fabric made butterflies, and that's kind of where we're gonna work from. So one of the things that I found, this is very fascinating when I was looking at this stuff just before I started this video. Okay, these are from the 80s. Please note the color palette I've used. Okay, this is one of my earliest paper crafting projects from 2008, 2009. And this is an old, and it just went out of my brain. This is what I hate these days, is basic gray fabric. But please note the color combinations, or the color palette throughout this book. Remember the colors in this. Whenever you say to yourself, oh, I don't really have a style. Okay, once again, let's put this here. Pull this one out on top. Okay, please note the color palette. I haven't changed much over the years, have I? It's kind of my comfort zone right here in terms of colors. I find it humorous. So I don't know if you guys all found it as funny as I did, but it's like, yeah, I haven't changed much. So anyway, I'm going to keep moving forward, trying to figure out exactly how I want to do the chicken wire covers, how to get those butterflies going, continue on with those pages. So we're still going to be working on this one for several weeks. But I also have, if I get a wild hair and a wild idea, and I have one, so I'm going to deviate from this for probably one day this week. Maybe I do it Friday, I'm thinking. Is I have another project that's a one and done kind of project that I want to show you. And that'll be a lot of fun. To do that one, potentially on Friday. But we'll be continuing on with this one for several weeks, though we may, if I get a wild hair, as I was starting to say, and we want to start one of the other rooms, we can do that. And we can kind of go back and forth, or stick with this one, maybe do one in that one and one in some other one, and then come back and finish this one. I'm not a super linear, here's the start, here's the finish kind of thing. As I said in the video last night too, is this one I'm working on a page and it's building from there. Sometimes I will do a whole bunch of fodder on whether it's fabric paper or whatever, backgrounds, that sort of thing. Or if I'm using printed paper, pull that whole palette all together and work from that. But with this one where we're starting from white, it's just making more sense to me personally to do each page one at a time rather than doing a whole bunch of backgrounds. But absolutely, you're up to your discretion as to how you work best. You can try it both ways, see which works better for you. If you're new, if you're not, you probably know what works better for you. But this is the process I'm using on this book, and it could be on one of the other books. Sorry, my dog's got a... Thank you, Tucker. He's a Chihuahua with a collapsing trachea, so he coughs kind of weird. So apologize for that lovely sound. Thank you, Tucker. That was really special. So, and then in the other direction, I have a cat sleeping upside down. So it's, Pet Central in the Denison household, as it's always been. So anyway, I'm looking forward to putting the butterflies behind the chicken fence in my book, and adding these butterflies. And anyway, I'm excited to get really going on this and make stuff. Thanks a bunch.